Hey, it's me, Kevin here. Wanted to show you a lesson I learned in my garden here about drippers. You'd think after 25 years of doing this I'd know better than to try to save a few bucks on emitters. But what I've got here is in my garden I've got, obviously my tomatoes here. But here's the interesting part I started to notice. Every one of these tomatoes, now these are the exceptions, these guys here, but you can see here, these tomatoes are significantly smaller the further away from the water source they get. The water source is over on this end, and the further away you get from the water, the smaller the tomatoes get. So going clear down into here, you can see these guys, they're producing, but they're not very tall. And normally they get up, about 5 feet tall. Well, what I found out was that the drippers that I had used, and they're super common in the industry, they're these flag emitters like this, and you can see this one's working fine. Here's what they are. They're these guys right here. They started to plug up after being in just 3 months. Well, over the weekend, I went and I looked these things over, and I found out that I'd say 30 to 40% of them were plugged up or not working properly. So I went down to Ewing, where we buy our irrigation supplies, and I purchased some of these Bow Smiths, and these are the same kind that we use in our landscape that we do, in our landscaping jobs that we do. The reason that I went with these cheaper ones is I figured normally, because these lines are above ground, I just usually trash them, and just, I guess, being lazy, I just cut them off and throw them in the trash. And for as inexpensive as that tubing is, I just run new tubing and throw the drippers away. Well, I think I'll try to pull these off and save these. They're about 10 times as much as these, but I mean, you can see the difference in the plants, and they've done real well. Now I manually water these plants because we get flood irrigation in through here, so we get water that comes in through these ditches here every 2 weeks, and we block these off and open these floodgates right here. So this whole garden gets a real big flood of irrigation every couple of weeks. So I've got to control these things, and I've got an injector system for fertilizer in here, so it doesn't contaminate my water. I've got it hooked up here with a hose instead of having a backflow preventer and all that stuff. So, but they're individually controlled like this. So trying to save a few bucks here, I really didn't do myself any justice. So the tomatoes this year are great. I always plant the early girls, and yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Look at that. See, that's a beautiful tomato. I mean, that's as big as my hand. You can see that, and that's just a huge, huge tomato. Typically, they're more this size, and it's still a nice tomato. They're great flavor. We can them, make spaghetti sauce out of them, obviously with this many of them, but look at the size of that thing. It's just phenomenal. Peppers are doing really well. You can see the new drippers are working just like they should, just perfectly, the way they're supposed to. We've got cucumbers here, and look what happened. God darn cows ate the things. They got into my garden, and you can see that little bugger right over there, and then his buddy, he's in his cage over there, but son of a gun's got in my garden and ate my dang cucumbers. Of all the things, I'm glad they didn't eat my tomatoes, so I'm gonna eat them, make my own food chain here. But you can see the squash are looking good. You can see back in there, they're looking really, really, really good. I think as these cucumbers get growing, I may try to do some pollination with those. I was talking to my in-law Scott, and he said he manually pollinates his flowers here. Although we've got a pretty good crop of insects out here, I don't think I really need to do that. But you can see they're really doing well. The zucchinis, you can see those guys in there. They're really doing well too. And so we got a good crop going this year. Peppers, they're little, but they're still doing really, really well. So anyway, I just wanted to show you this lesson I learned about drippers here in my